It's National Chili Day. Tom Murphy has joined us. Tom, we'll get to your favorite chilies last night, but it was a spicy, saucy chili last night at Bud Walton Arena.
It really was. It was a tie kind of a game. There was a great dose of controversy involved, and feelings were running hot. And the way John Petty left the game, he was so rankled, and you could just tell that the Crimson Tide was really frustrated. You know what? It was the reverse of the Alabama football team coming in here when it just feels like they get mystery, pass interference calls that don't get called and all that kind of stuff, and they get protected. Well, they came in here last night, and they didn't get protected. I thought there were probably 3 or 4 calls that just really went Arkansas's way. Petty's first attempt to dunk, the first technical, it looked like Justin Smith got him on the wrist pretty good, no call, and he got the technical. But Alabama's got to learn, man. Everybody's going to give you a really good shot now. You've had a great run, but now it's getting to be crunch time and tournament time, and you can't lose your patience like that. And I thought Nate Oates did a really good post-game job of not criticizing the officials and saying that his team got bothered by the officiating. But it's just a great, great win for Arkansas basketball. We're witnessing a year unlike, many others for a long time since that national tournament, NCAA tournament championship in '94. To see their prep work and to put it on display like they did last night, the way they defended was pretty amazing.
How about Ethan Henderson last night? I know we've given a lot of adulation to Jalen Williams to this point. He's deserved it. But, Tom, I can't remember the last time Ethan played significant. He comes in late in the first half, has a couple blocks, has a couple layups, just played his heart out, and he really gave that team a boost in a stretch that Alabama looks like they were going to get back the lead in the first half.
Yeah, I've always liked what he's given them, and I've always wondered what is it that keeps him from getting more minutes, because he got blocked shots. Now, he did have a -6 on, I think, the plus-minus stat, which is the scoring while you're on the court, but it just happened to coincide with Bruner's hot streak from the three-point land. But yeah. I do think he gave them valuable minutes. And I think last night Connor Vanover got into a little bit of some of the early pick and rolls and stuff they were doing. Alabama was on him, and he had a couple of turnovers, and then there were turnovers when people were trying to get it to him, and so it just wasn't his kind of game, basically. But I love the way they defended at the rim. Henderson had 2 blocks, Vanover had 1, Jalen Tate had 4. They tried to really prevent the dribble drives, getting all the way to the hole, and then they tried to get out to the three-point shooters, the ones who hurt them, Petty and Shackelford. And they did a pretty good job limiting their looks from three-point range. So kudos to Arkansas for having a really good defensive game plan.
Yeah, Connor Vanover, part of the starting lineup that I don't think has changed in 5 games now. He had 10 minutes, but the guy that came off the bench that was incredible, you brought up the plus-minus stat with Ethan Henderson. Let's bring it up for Jalen Williams, who was a plus 30 last night in 22 minutes. He had 13 points himself. You wonder at what point, based on recent performances and one like last night, Tom, when does Jalen Williams work his way consistently into the starting lineup?
Yeah, he very much could, but what makes Arkansas special is their ability to plug dudes in. Like, for instance, Note had not been playing very well, and then last night he had a couple of big three-pointers. You can tell the moment never gets too big for J.D. Note, and I like that. But I also thought that Williams probably was the player of the game. Moses did not have a great shooting game, but he hit all those free throws, which, there's a huge benefit to that, obviously. And he was aggressive getting into the hole. But Jalen Williams, that
period
the only
of
one
hitting free throws. So
he was. The period of time where Alabama took the lead, he scored 8 points, 8 of 9 points for Arkansas. He got some back down, jump hooks, and a variety, a layup and a couple of free throws in there. And I thought his defensive rebounding, when Arkansas was taking control of the game, there were some one-and-out sets for Alabama where it was contested rebounds, but Williams got them. And he got about 3 or 4 in a row. He had a phenomenal game. And when you see him, he's smiling on the court after one of those scores. He had his tongue out, and he was just so happy. He is a huge plus for this Razorback team, and he's getting better and better. Yeah,
you bring up the lack of flow in the game last night. A lot of fouls called, but it was really a game where you had a lot of three-point attempts on one end, a lot of dribble penetration going to the rack on the other end. That really forced. I thought it was a game that forced a lot of decisions to have to be made with the guys with the whistles last night. There's a lot of contact, I thought, for two teams that are statistically as good as they are defensively. There was just a lot of plays where they forced the officials to make a decision on the play.
They really did. A lot of block charge things. Herb Jones, he drew a couple of charges, I want to say, but he also got a couple. The one early in the second half, you could tell he was just trying to be very aggressive, but I think it was Moses who got in front of him, and I thought that was a legit charging call. And you're right, they put pressure. I mean, guys who were setting screens, were they moving right at the last second? There was some of that going on. I think there was an early foul call on Jaden Shackelford that was really a tone setter, trying to fight around the screen, I believe. And Devo Davis, I mean, he had to sit a bunch of minutes because he got two at the same time on the clock. He got a foul that stopped the clock, and then he got a foul when they inbounded, and now he's on the bench for you. So one guy I do want to see get going is Desi Sills a little bit. He just seemed like he couldn't find his place in that game, and he can be such a benefit to Arkansas. Given the makeup of their roster, Desi could really add something.
Yeah, he hadn't scored in double digits, Tom, I believe, since the second Auburn game, so you're kind of waiting and ready for him to get back on. We're talking a little Arkansas basketball here with Tom Murphy on the Morning Rush. Tom, I thought also what was interesting about this game last night is heard Dykes and Ravitch touch on this. It was the biggest game of the night, not just for the SEC, but for college basketball, and for Arkansas to now be in sole possession of second place in the Southeastern Conference kind of speaks to this where this team was at one point 2-4 in conference, now 10-4. How much improvement have you seen in this 8-game SEC winning streak?
No, just tons of it. I think they're a better rebounding team. I think they take better shots. I think Justin Smith. Think about this. Connor Vanover was just kind of not in his element at the very beginning, but he did get one dunk, and it was Justin Smith who set him up with a dribble drive down the left baseline and drew help, and Connor was wide open, and he got him a dunk. Mm-hmm. Justin Smith is a difference maker. Jimmy Dykes pointed out early in the second half that he had 1 point, and that he's got to be more of a impact guy. And now he had, I think, 6 rebounds at that point, but he had a spell kind of with Jalen Williams where he had a putback on a Moses Moody missed layup. He had a dunk on that loose ball scramble that Tate fed to him, and he had some big rebounds late in the game too. So there's just what I love about the team is there's just so many different guys who could rise up on a given night. We pointed it out with Ethan Henderson and Jalen Williams, and Moses is kind of always there. But guys like Devo Davis could have monster games. So you're right. It was the national game of the night. All the foul calls notwithstanding, it was good entertainment for the people.
Tom, when did Musk start calling you Murph? I've never heard anyone call you Murph. And he said, was that the first time last night that you've been referred to as Murph?
It may be, but I think what he was doing is he could see on my little square on the Zoom call that it says Murphy on it.
Okay.
And that's probably where he picked that up. And, that's one of the great things about Eric Musselman is he has a way of connecting. He addresses the people who ask him questions by their names, and he knows the whole cast of characters who cover the Razorbacks, and it helps endear him to the media and in another way to the fan.
Wasn't that the name of the stadium in San Diego, the Murph? So
the Murph, it was.
He's
turned into Qualcomm.
Yeah.
But I did go by. A lot of people called me Murph in college and high school. My buddies did.
There you go.
I was cool with it.
Yeah. So Arkansas, obviously, with another huge game Saturday. This was a big week. You did exactly what you had to do. You couldn't go 0 for 2. You've now got the big win over Bama. It seems like you just want to go ahead and finish this thing off, obviously, and more or less lock down second place with a win Saturday. Another huge game with LSU. Not the rankings, maybe not the national implications, but for league standings, this is a meaningful game.
Yeah, it really is, and it's to me, it's good LSU, bad LSU, and I talk about it with you guys a lot. And it was bad LSU at Georgia the other night. So they've had an extra day to prepare. They've had some phenomenal games recently where they've shot 56% and things like that. I think I think Arkansas is a team that bothers, like that LSU gets up for. And so I think we're going to see the best of Javonte Smart and Darius Days and their veterans. And then, of course, what they're going to do, they're going to find a way to try to keep Cameron Thomas from killing them in this game. So it's going to be fascinating to see what they game plan for to try to defend LSU, because if you try to control Cam Thomas, then Javonte Smart will drive and try to get to the hole and dish to people. So I'm expecting a whale of a game, and Arkansas has to watch out for this. They just reached this super huge high.
Yep.
Can they recreate that and play near to this capacity on Saturday?
Can you move this one behind you? All right, last one. We'll let you go. Is this team peaking right now? Is there still better basketball ahead? Or, what is the ceiling for this team as far as performance?
I think there could be. I mean, think about last night. Moses did not have a good shooting night. Now, I'm not looking at his stats now, but he did not have a good
3
shooting
for 12.
Night. Yeah, Desi Sills didn't really contribute at all. Vance Jackson didn't play, and he's a guy who can come in and stab you with 2 or 3 3-pointers. So, and then Connor Vanover did not have a good night. So I think and obviously all those guys can't get 20, 22 minutes in a game, along with the other dudes. But I think that there's a improved level of play that Arkansas can get, no question.
Tom, we appreciate your time as always, buddy. Real quick, what's your favorite type of chili before we let you go? Forgot to ask that.
I'm just going to say my wife's chili. I'm not a huge
answer.
chili fan, but in the winter I do enjoy it. And Kay makes spectacular chili.
Well, Mrs. K, your chili is appreciated. Tom, your effort here on the Morning Rush is also appreciated. We'll talk Monday, buddy.
Yeah, we'll talk some baseball on Monday too, man, because those dudes are getting it done as well. See y'all.